Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hello, welcome to the Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and today we have a wonderful guest, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more about him and his project and what he has done. He's worked on his book, The Struggle, and he is born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, where he still resides, and he has a beautiful story about redemption, and I can't wait for you guys to hear about how he came to write this book and the journey that he's been on that led him up to writing The Struggle. Welcome, Mr. Lloyd Dotson.
Thank you, and good afternoon to you, Dr. Nicholson. I appreciate the opportunity.
You have an amazing story, and it's important to share our message with the world. So, yes, I am happy to have you here. So, first, please share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the man you are today.
All right, a little bit about me. Well, as Dr. Nicholson stated, my name is Lloyd Dotson, and I'm a junior, my parents' only child. I myself am a father of three. I have two handsome, wonderful sons, a beautiful daughter, and I'm also a grandfather. I have a
Oh,
grandson and a granddaughter, courtesy of my daughter. She's their mother. I was born and raised, as Dr. Nicholson alluded to, in Atlanta. So I'm a rare native because now most people that you meet here are from elsewhere. But that is not the case when meeting me. I'm a native. Um, I am a veteran. So I recently was appreciated on Veterans Day. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy.
thank you for serving.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and you're welcome. And I am currently employed by the law firm of Baker Hostetler, which is a mid-sized regional firm. We have about seven, 800 attorneys nationwide and about 50 here in the Atlanta area. I am a paralegal. I'm not an attorney. And I have been writing for pretty much the bulk of my life, and I write poetry, I write short stories, and I have written the book, The Struggle, on which the sequel I am currently working on, and the sequel is titled Walking in Victory.
Ooh,
Yes, ma'am.
I love it, love it, love it. So you've done a number of things, and I'm happy to hear that you are working in the law industry or the legal industry, and
Yes.
so you are gifted you have knowledge and experience in that area, and so was that influential when you were writing The Struggle?
To be honest, no. I,
Oh,
I
good, good, good.
I didn't utilize any of my no skills that I had learned and have learned in my
Hmm.
writing, in the sense of falling back on them to use in my writings. Uh, Actually, my writing skill helps me in the professional area, in that I am entrusted to do a lot of writing and or proofing and or editing for various things, as long
Yes.
as anything that is law specific is not required to be applied to it. But if it's a general memorandum or a letter,
Hmm.
things of
Hmm.
that nature, I'm tasked with drafting them and proofing the product before it becomes a finished product, quite often by virtue of people knowing of my love of writing.
So tell me about your book and why you felt the need to share the message of the struggle.
All right. The struggle came about, I remember it as if it, I can't even say yesterday, as if it just happened a few seconds ago. I
Ah.
was with my I was with my son's mother, and my children's mother, to be more specific, and we
Hmm.
were going to see a play that her then hairstylist's son was participating in. And this
Mm-hmm.
was pre GPS days. So we had the directions written down, and unfortunately, she had forgotten the directions at
I
home.
remember those days.
So I stopped at a gas station. I said, "Hey, man, could you tell me how I need to find such and such?" And the guy gave me directions. And I remember as I walked out of the store looking over what he told me to do and where he told me to go and kind of get my bearings about me because I was totally lost.
Yeah.
I clearly heard God speak to me and so tell me that I was to write a book. And the voice was so audible and clear, and the directions were extremely succinct. So much so that I was driving, but when I got back to the car, I said, "Terry, you're going to drive. I'm getting some advice and guidance on something I need to do." And that's
Mm-hmm.
as specific I was with her at that moment. I told her later that night that God had spoken to me and told me, gave me these instructions and this directive. And he gave me my character's name, he gave me the storyline, he gave me the
Ooh.
plot, and I just took it from there. And it's not my story. So I know people ask me all the time, "Is that you?" And I'm like, "No, that's not me." And I can't claim to know anyone who experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that I believe is quite relatable, even if not these specific series of events that my character, whose name is Sam Banks, went through. The overarching story is something that people can say, "Hey, man, I can see that, or I knows, or that's me, or whatever the case may be."
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So this was a true download from God for you.
yes, it was. Yes,
We
ma'am.
can we can call it download.
Yes, that would be very appropriate and applicable. Yes,
Now, because of the intensity of the download, did this energize you or exhaust you?
energized. As I
Mm.
stated, I went to that play to see the young man perform in the play that night, and it didn't start until 8. So by the time it was done and we got back home, it was close to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I was so pumped, excited, on a high. I had no idea what to do to write a book. I had never written a book. I mean, I know how to write, but as far as putting things in a book format was totally foreign to me. Uh,
Yes.
I was probably up until 4 that morning doing research as far as how to publish a book or what steps to do to write a book, that is, or how the formatting. And then that happened to be Friday, so thankfully I didn't have to get up and go to work. And then the next morning, Saturday, I got up, still on a high, and I began to write.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history.
So you were not exhausted. You were more energized by this writing ordeal,
Yes,
even though you didn't have a clue what to do. You
correct.
still felt like, you know what, I'm just going with the flow.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh
That would be
wow.
correct.
Oh
That would be
wow.
correct. Yes.
So give us a brief summary of the story.
A brief summary of the struggle. Again, the
Mm-hmm.
character's name is Sam Banks. Sam
Mm-hmm.
is professionally, his life is in order by virtue of him being an engineer, so he's an educated man. However, spiritually, he's bankrupt. He goes out one night after, and he's a young man. He's in his early 30s to give you an idea of where he is in life. He's single, no kids. And he goes out with a friend one night to a club. He gets drunk, makes the decision to drive himself home. And as I just previously stated, he was drunk. He
Mm-hmm.
gets involved in a car accident in which he kills the other party. Once he goes to prison for his crimes, he meets a man while in prison who helps him to develop a relationship with Jesus Christ. And once he develops that relationship while in prison, he strengthens his faith. And once he gets out after having finished serving his term, the title or the struggle kicks in because now it's a challenge of doing things the way that he's learned over the previous couple of years during his time in prison,
Yeah.
or reverting back to his old ways of what he did prior to prison and prior to having a relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So it's his relationship, or it's his, the struggle came after for him. It wasn't in, lockdown or in
right,
prison. The
right.
struggle came as he was trying to battle one new life with an old life.
That will be a perfect way of summing it up. Yes, new versus
Okay.
old. Yes, ma'am. That would be very
Okay.
accurate.
Oh wait, I can't wait to read the book. I am an avid reader, and some things are just some stories are just intriguing, and I want to learn more about, um, how did he manage through the struggle, not just the end result, but how
Right,
did you do it? How did you do it?
right.
So that's interesting. Oh wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, so tell me a little bit more about your growing up, your upbringing. Did you have both parents, and what was it like for you growing up as a child?
Growing up as a child, as you mentioned, and as you stated to confirm, I did have both parents. My parents married very young. They were 17 and 19 and 18 and 20 when I came along. So you do the math, didn't take them much time
They
for
were
them
doing
to
their
slide
thing.
down me. So,
Yes.
yes, at the time of my father's passing in May of 2021, had he lived 3 more weeks, uh, June 16th, if I'm not mistaken, he and my mother would have been married for 50 years.
Oh wow. Wow, you
Yes.
have a great example.
So yes,
Okay.
yes, they're beautiful people. I miss him dearly, but he lives with me, obviously in name because I'm his junior, and he lives with me through the lessons that he taught me. And it's something now. I feel like I'm at that point in life because my sons and my daughter will say things back to me, and then I'll say something to them, or however in the course of conversation they'll say, "This sounds like Grandpa," and I'm like, "Well, yeah."
And
So
I'm okay.
and my mother, she lives with me now. After my father's passing, I moved my mother in with me, and she is a sweetheart. She's dear to my heart. I love my mother dearly. And as I stated, I have two sons and a daughter. My daughter being the oldest, she's 32,
Hmm.
and she has two children. And those my grandsons. A shameless plug. Birthday is this weekend, so I am preparing myself mentally to be around a bunch of 4 to 7 year olds because I know they are going. I know that energy level is already on high, so
They gonna work your nerve.
yeah, I got to get ready for that. I got to get ready for that. They don't know the meaning of sit down, be still. I think the longest period of time we can expect them to stop is during the singing a happy birthday for the birthday cake candles being blown out. So
What was it like for you celebrating your birthday when you were young? Maybe not quite 4 years old, but just a young kid. What was it like for you?
well, it was very festive. Even though my birthday is December 22nd, which is just 3 days before Christmas, my
Hmm.
parents made sure to distinguish between Christmas and my birthday, that they would recognize them both and not say, "Oh well, it's so close to Christmas, so you just gonna have to consolidate them." No, no, they always. I had birthday parties, and I won't say I had a birthday party every year until I turned like 14 years old.
Oh wow. You
Yeah,
had you have siblings?
I don't. I don't. The
Ah.
only child. I'm the only child. I have no siblings.
You know what? That makes sense because when you have siblings, you and Christmas, and one child is born near to Christmas, you're like, listen, you're gonna get one gift.
Yeah.
But your parents, they didn't have any more children, so they just spoiled you, and that's
Yes, they
beautiful.
did.
That's
I'll admit it. I'll
that
admit it.
that's beautiful. So, you had a birthday party for every birthday, leading up to 14.
Yes.
Do you know anything about the kind of struggle that Sam Banks had to go through?
Personally, no, but seeing it
Mm.
from afar through others, that yes. Uh, I will never forget. I saw a young man that had known since elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the store, and this was probably 20 years ago. So it was maybe a year or so prior to writing the book. So maybe 21, 22 years ago. And I heard my name being called. I heard Lloyd, Lloyd. And I was like, who is that called? So I was looking around, and the only person I saw in the vicinity was a gentleman that looked like life had really beaten him up. He looked really weathered. And I was like, he ain't calling me. I'm like, who is calling me? And then while I'm looking right at him, he calls my name again. So I said, he is calling. So I said, man, do I know you? And he said, this is Michael Waters. And I said, Michael. And as I alluded to, I know him since elementary school. And unfortunately, he was homeless.
Mm.
And he had been to prison.
Mm-hmm.
He had overcome drug addiction, and he was now homeless. At that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I can say I last saw Michael about a year ago. He had a relative that intervened and helped him to clean himself up and get back established, and he was now working. So he's gainfully employed, and he's now off of the street. So that has a very happy ending. But seeing him and seeing that was such a sobering reality to
Mm-hmm.
what could or couldn't be. But for one of the things I talk to my children often and tell them, we have choices in life we have to make, and there are good choices and there are bad choices, and you're going to either benefit or be blessed by them, or be broken or have to recover from them. So it's up
Right.
to you to decide which choice you will make. And you're not going to always make the right choice, because no one is perfect to make the right choice every time, all the time. But it's better to have a higher success rate than failure rate.
Well, how has failure helped you?
Failure has helped me in that it has taught me from the mistakes that I have made to do my best not to repeat them, to do my best to learn from them, not wallow them in them, and allow them to just make me feel worthless and as if I'm just absolutely nothing, or I can't recover from them. But no, I can recover from them. And yes, I can stand back up again, even when I'm knocked down, fall down, slip up, or however, whatever the circumstance may
You know, there's a notion that failure is not good. And I
be.
have found that failure is really just giving you answers. They're giving you answers. No, this doesn't work. 49 ways that this didn't work if you tried it 49 times. But it's if you look at it as in a positive,
Right.
frame it in a narrative that makes it easy for you to learn from, then you can really use failure as a stepping stone for your success. So for anyone listening out there, we are encouraging you to try new things, to do things,
Very true.
and if it didn't work out, try another way, but
Very true.
keep trying.
Couldn't agree more.
So how did Sam Banks? I mean, I don't want to tell the whole story. I don't want to give away, but tell me a little bit more about how did Sam Banks, manage this struggle that he was going through? Because it seemed like there, there was some contrast in
There
or
was.
some pulling.
Right.
So how did he manage?
Well, one thing that he had to learn and had to grudgingly accept was that he had to cut off a lot of the things that were in his life, in his prior life, that may have not been in his best interest. People, things that he had previously done as far as ways of doing, or his thought process had to change. So he had a lot of physical as well as the spiritual things that he had to struggle with, that he had
Yeah.
to say, hey, this ain't working anymore, or this will not work for what I want to do or where I want to go, or I can no longer do this if I'm now doing this. So you're right. Excellent choices of words, Dr. Nicholson. Its contrast was very obvious and made very clear to him. And the struggle became something that he had to acknowledge was something that he was going to have to deal with. He couldn't shy away from. He couldn't ignore it, nor could he run from it. He had to face it head on.
Did he have to change his mindset?
Most certainly, yes.
And I wanted to bring that up because no matter how we struggle with change in our lives or wanting, desiring something else, it's hard for us to
Hmm.
to grasp another level or the things that we want in life if our mindset doesn't shift. And so, did he have to invest in himself or do something different to get to where he wanted to go?
He most certainly he did a lot different. As I alluded to previously, Sam Banks is an educated man, and Sam is an engineer by trade. So, needless to
Hmm.
say, he was professionally he had things in order, and he felt that for him, and the way that I felt that it was a way that would be something that would be appropriate or needed to get the story across, he stepped away from that profession and the
Hmm.
money that came with it. And as I alluded to, I am a paralegal, and I have found that a lot of, particularly the younger attorneys, are finding less fulfillment
Mm.
and working the grind, if you will, and because one of the very thankless things or the unforgiving things about working in a law firm is that they have that billable hour requirement, and it's like, I know, your mother may have died, but my client needs his. And it's like no compassion. It's very cold and very thankless. It's almost like, I know you tripped and fell. Just get back up and ignore the wound and keep working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
There are some
that's
places that are obviously far more cold and callous than others, but overall, that is the recurring thing.
mm.
Yes.
Do you think there's the industry or the working environment has changed so drastically that we only care about results?
Yes. In some instances, there are people that choose to ignore the fact that they're dealing with people and that people have lives, and that I'll share a personal story. I'll never forget my youngest son, and shameless plug, he
I'm for
he,
it.
he has achieved academically his entire life, so much so he's a junior at Georgia State University right now, and he has made straight A's 4 consecutive semesters.
Oh, congratulations to him.
Thank
That's
you.
not easy.
And no, it ain't. No, it's not by no stretch of the imagination, is it? But I remember when he was in middle school, I will never forget. And at that point, like I want to say elementary as well, they have their award ceremony in the middle of the day as opposed to in the evening time. So he was getting awarded a couple of awards for academic achievement, and the ceremony began at 1. And I was excited, and I told my workplace, I said, hey, I'm going to take a break in the middle of the day. And I know it's kind of unorthodox, but I need to go to my son's school to celebrate him because he's getting a couple of awards. And most people know, whether they meant it or not, they, hey, that sounds great, Lloyd. I'm happy, so proud of him. Congratulations to him. But I will never forget one of the attorneys, I told him, and he said to me, isn't your wife going? And I said, yeah, I am too. I don't get where you're going. Well, she's going. Why are you going? As if I shouldn't or didn't need to be there. I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was like, wow, and this guy had children himself, so
Hmm.
that's the mindset of some.
Did you end up going?
I most certainly did.
Okay. Whew.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I most certainly did.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I remember when I returned, because like I said, I didn't leave for the day. I was gone for about 2.5 hours.
Right. A
So when I
long
got
break.
back
Yeah.
to work later that afternoon, and people saw me return, and those that knew why I had left, they were like, "How'd the award ceremony go?" And I was like, "Oh, it was great, blah blah blah." And they were like, "Got pictures? Let me see pictures." And he saw me, and
Show pictures.
well, I believe he had realized what he had said and how he kind of stuck his foot in his mouth, because he kind of came to me and was like, "Oh, I want to just congratulate you on your son's achievement." And I was like, "Yeah, all right."
It's very important to support our youth, to support our
Yes, most
children.
definitely.
I don't regret that I wasn't always there at all of my children's sports and awards. I really tried, but that's one of the things that I would have done differently. Just been more there, just been
Mm-hmm.
more there,
Yes.
more present, because you can't take those moments back. You
No,
can't give back, that time that you weren't there. So
yes,
even though I love the outcomes and the sacrifices that I've made, I still admire and appreciate people like you who were able to do it, find a way. That's beautiful.
yeah,
And we have to continue investing in our children,
we
because
do.
when you show them, when you show up for them, it's encouraging.
It is. It is. It means so much,
Oh my
It
goodness.
does. It means it's more valuable than money.
Yes, yes. It's part of their core memories. It helps them to develop their core memories, and part of helping them to believe in themselves, because they see how important whatever it is that they're doing, that you had the time to show up. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I'm thinking back on all the things that I was there for my children, and I remember them like they were yesterday. So it's important to show up
It is. It is. It
and
is.
invest in our children. What is one of the best or the most worthwhile investment that you made in yourself?
And myself,
Mm-hmm.
the most worthwhile investment I've made in myself, I would say, is I would say becoming a father. Uh,
Mm.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. It's almost inexplicable in the sense of I really can't put it into words. In the sense of it's not easy to just sum up what
What's
I
so
enjoy.
special? What is so
Oh,
special?
I remember a little earlier as we began our conversation, I said, I feel like I've reached that point where when I'm talking to my children, they regurgitate things back to me. You sound like grandpa. Uh, the special thing about it are the memories, like you just said. I think back now that all of them are adults. I think back to when they were little, when they were small. Like one thing I will always cherish and take with me to my own grave. All of them came out of the womb into my hands.
Oh, you
And
were there from the very beginning.
I figured about that scene of the crime, I might well be there.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. It looks
But
like fatherhood really made an impression on your life.
it did. It did.
And so did that help to stretch you as a person?
Yes, ma'am. It did. It made me realize that, and another thing that you said earlier, the sacrifices that they were going to become necessary. You have to
Mm-hmm.
deny yourself to ensure that they are reaching their apex because they're your responsibility. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't take
Mm-hmm.
that lightly. I don't take for granted that, because God could have given them to anybody else. He gave them to me. And I
Yeah.
take that seriously. I take that very seriously. It's a responsibility I don't shy away from. It's one that I welcome, because everybody doesn't get that privilege.
What advice would you give to them about
The,
fatherhood?
the advice I would give to them about fatherhood is that it's as important as it is to provide for your children financially. It's as important and probably even more important to provide for them spiritually and to provide for them physically. Your
Mm-hmm.
presence means a whole lot. My oldest son was in the band in high school. and I went to every one of his games he played in, and except for two.
Mm-hmm.
One, someone stole my car, and then
Mm-hmm.
one, my uncle passed away on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were dealing with, the fallout from his passing. And my son will remember and tell me, Dad, you ain't come to. I'm like, I came to all the rest, but he remembers though, because he told me, he said, I was looking around, I didn't see you.
Oh wow. He's gotten so used to your
And
presence.
so used me being there, he
Yes.
didn't see me, and he
Mm-hmm.
remembers those two vividly.
He's gonna be a father one day, prayerfully.
Yes, this is true.
Hmm. And he'll have his days where
Yes,
he may not be able to make it too.
exactly.
Yes.
Life happens. Life happens.
So you have two boys and a girl.
Two boys and a girl.
What advice would you give to your daughter
What advice?
about parenthood?
Now I was about to say, now that she's a parent, I would say to her, and do say to her, be visible,
Mm.
be present, and be an example to them.
Mm.
Don't talk at them, but let your life speak to them.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow. Do you think that being present, the way we shape our children, has anything to do with the way they manage the struggle?
I do. I
Hmm.
believe it makes a difference in the sense of, if you are there, it helps them to formulate a better way of creating their own thought process, but having one that was tangible for them to call upon.
To draw from, yes.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. You are sharing so many interesting things about yourself, and I'm glad you're transparent. And you didn't know I was going to be all up in your business.
That's all right. That is right. That is perfectly all right.
Okay. So tell
So
me, what are some what are so you have good advice for your children, but what are some bad advice that you've heard that you will never want to pass on?
bad advice that I've heard that I've
Oh,
You really want me to?
just one. Keep it nice.
Oh boy, yes,
No,
because
we get some
I have
interesting
received
things
my
to
share of
say.
bad advice. I most
Okay,
certainly have.
give me one.
I will never forget. I have a friend who's no longer with us, but he told me that I would be a fool if I were to tie myself to one woman. That I needed to experience as many as I could, as often as I could.
You know what? Men get that bad advice all the time, don't they? Now, you should tell them why that's really bad advice, okay? I mean, I could tell them, but let me tell y'all why that's bad advice. Let me tell y'all. Why that's bad advice. Of course, you want
Yes,
to have a lot of notches in your belt. Let's call it notches in your belt. But when you find someone and decide, because it's a decision that
correct.
you make, that I'm going to spend as much time as I can with this person, then so many other things, decisions you don't have to make, because
Right,
you've already decided that this is how it's going to be. This is where we're going to live, and this is where we're going to take it. And when I say live, I mean this is the life that we're going
right.
to start. And it's just so much more beautiful when you have a bond with someone that you can grow with, other than trying to bond with people, you know frequently. You just develop a relationship there and make it deep rooted, like a tree with lots of deep roots, and you can blossom a relationship that is fruitful. So that's why.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Your friend, was he married?
Mm, yes, and at the time he told me that bit of advice, he was not married; he was divorced.
Right. So you see, a lot of times too, people, we get advice from their best experiences. And so people, because he may have seen some bad relationships or
Hmm.
seen some people run around, or someone that he admires, maybe a father figure that he admires, he's thinking, I'm giving you the best advice. And he probably truly is. And that's why we have to have discernment when it comes to
Yes.
who we get advice from.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, because people are just giving you their best. And if it's bull, it's bull. You're giving they're giving you the best bull. For
You are so
real.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So, one thing we need to do is take a look at who we're getting advice from,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to relationships. You
Hmm.
want to go to people that are exemplifying good relationships, strong relationships, and healthy relationships,
Correct.
because the struggle is real.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. I enjoy our conversation. I think you are, a wonderful author, a wonderful person. And Lloyd, you have this beautiful book that I hope it's been doing the work and getting into the hands, and the message is getting into the hands of the people who need it. And I'm sure that, it's got room to grow, more people to reach.
Right.
So how can people connect with you?
Well, I had a website, and I said had past tense. I am working to build it back up. And I say that because I took it down because I wanted to recreate it to add one of the things that I want to add to it. I have begun performing spoken word, and I
Hmm.
want to add that element to the website. So for now, I am available and accessible via Instagram
Yes.
at LDJWRITER, at LDJ Writer. And you could contact me either via email at
Yes.
LDJWRITER at gmail.com.
LDJ LDJwriter@gmail.com.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So people, reach out to Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Lloyd Dotson and get this book, because it sounds like it's an intriguing book, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Yes, I'm looking forward to reading it. I like to read when I'm on vacation, so I'm gonna think about where I'm going next, or not vacation, when I'm traveling. As long as I'm going on a plane, I want to have a book to read.
Gotcha.
And so I should be traveling sometime in December. So I'll see.
Okay.
I'll have to get your book.
All right.
And so you know where to get the book. Send him an email, and just order your book through there, because
Yes.
you're still in the process of setting up. So thank you
Yes.
so much. But before you go, I
All right.
have three questions that I really
Okay.
like to ask each one of my guests.
All
And
right.
the first one is, what's one bold promise that you can share with your audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
One bold promise that I could share would be that there is absolutely, I was going to say nothing, but let me preface it. There is
Hmm.
absolutely nothing that you can't do. The only limitations that we set are those that are there are those that we set within ourselves.
Mm.
Typically people will talk themselves out of, oh, I'm not able to, or I won't be able to, or I can't. No, I had no clue what was involved in the process of writing a book. April 20th, 2003.
Yes.
April 21st, 2003, I began the journey. And November 8th, 2003, I had the finished product in my hand.
Oh,
And I
wow.
don't say that to sound arrogant or pat myself on the back. I'm saying that to say, if I can do it, you can do it. It's not going to happen for you or to you, but you have to make it happen. You have to
Mm.
put the work in, and I'm speaking that to myself. You can't just snap your fingers and expect the genie to appear out of the bottle and grant the wishes and you say, oh, good, here you are. I want this, that, and the other. No, you have to work, but
Yeah,
it's worth it. The end product, the end result is all worth
that's beautiful. You have to put in the work, guys. No matter what it is that you want, you have to fight,
it. You do.
fight for it. because nothing is going to be handed to you. And people of this world, some people are greedy and they want more
Mm,
and they want more, but you have to take control as much as you can, as much as much power as you can, to take control of the things that you can take control of, and make a plan to achieve whatever it is that you're desiring,
yes,
because
ma'am.
it's possible.
Yes, it is.
If you can dream it, you can achieve it. It's
That's true.
possible.
That's
Oh,
very
thank you
true.
so much for sharing that. So now we have another question.
All
What's
right.
a bold statement that you can share with your audience that can change their life?
Bold statement that I can share with the audience that can change their life is that, in addition to there being nothing that you can't do without you putting limitations on yourself,
Mhm.
see yourself in the place that you would desire to be.
Mm.
If you want to be an astronaut, I say that because it's in space and I just pulled that out of the air.
Yeah.
Be that. Don't say, well, I'm not able, or I can't do this, or I won't be able, or how can I? No, create your way if there is no way. And it's not impossible to do. The impossibility is what you claim or allow it to be. If you allow there to be impossibility, then there will be just that impossibility. If you say, no, I can, then you will.
So create your way. When
Yes.
when it seems like there's no other way, create your
Hey,
way.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree 100%. When I started as a speaker, there were no one hiring me to be a speaker
ma'am.
before. I had to create that platform. And so I agree with you 100%. Whatever it is that you want, imagine it and create your way. Imagination is really a powerful tool that I've learned that will also help you to get to the dreams and goals that you have for yourself.
Very true.
Just, yeah, I mean, um I don't really create vision boards anymore, but I used to create vision boards. Vision boards are great. You know what?
Right.
I create them on my phone now. I used to physically cut things out. Now I create the vision boards on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that I want, I screenshot it and put it on my phone so I see it as frequently as possible.
Right.
And that is also a great way to help you get to the things that you want in your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. We have another question for you.
Okay.
Ta-da, ta-da. What's a bold move that you'd like to make in the future?
A bold move that I would like to make in the future is easy. The struggle is going to be a movie. It
Oh, wow. That's a big, bold move.
is, but
Oh,
it's
yes.
going to be a movie. And I'll tell you, I've had people that have read it that have come back to me afterwards and said, "Man, I felt like I was watching a movie." And
Ooh.
I was like, "Okay." And just as God spoke to me to write the book, He, in a dream, told me that the struggle would become a movie one day, and I am taking the necessary steps to make that happen. I'm taking screenwriting courses to learn how to adapt a book into a screenplay, so that is an ambition that I am going to fulfill. And as I stated, the struggle is going to be a movie one day.
Impressive. You know, that's a testament to your writing skills. If people can say, they read your book and it felt like they were watching a movie, that's a testament to your great creative writing skills. And so I'm rooting for you. I'm
Thank
looking forward to have you come back and tell us about this movie. O-
certainly, certainly,
Okay. And all of
certainly.
the preparations that you're making in order to set it up, to get yourself to make sure that it's transcribed for screenplay. That's just beautiful. The investment, that's another investment.
Yes,
As
it
we
is.
talked about today, investing in yourself. And
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. Well, Lloyd, thank you so much for coming and sharing and giving the people a little summary of what the struggle is about, but also giving lots of gems. I heard you dishing out some gems in there too. So, yes, thank you. You sound like you love fatherhood,
I
and
do.
It's probably one of the reasons why, you got that book. But anyway, thank you for coming and sharing. And people reach out to Lloyd. This is his email, ldjwriter@gmail.com,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
order your book. Get
Yes.
your copy. It's the anniversary just happened, right?
Yes, yes. Like I mentioned, November 8th, it was
Yes.
20 years. It's just blown me away. That time has passed, and I am just going to be, as I have been throughout this the prior time we've been conversing, transparent. I have been slowful, and my father's subsequent to his passing, well, prior to his passing, I should say,
Hmm.
he was sick to the point of being bedridden, and my mother and I were his caregivers.
Hmm.
And not using it as an excuse by any stretch of the imagination, because if I had to do it again, I would, and that is take care of and help in his care. I would. But that obviously demanded, commanded, and required a great deal of time and patience on both of her and my parts to provide him with the utmost care that he was deserving of. And that obviously did impact my time. But again, I will not use that as an excuse, because prior to his getting to that point of neediness, I could have been writing more and doing more. But I am not dead, so I'm still alive. So I am going to press forward and pursue and do things. As I alluded to, I have begun a career as a spoken word performer,
Yes.
in addition to my writing, in addition to the poetry that I write. And I immensely love and enjoy doing that. So that is another thing that I have, another feather I put in my cap, if you will.
Yes.
Yes,
Sounds like you have so much to offer, so much to share with the world. You,
yes.
I can see you taking care of your father is another testament of the person, of the character you are. The things that made you so concerned that you can write about us, the story of Sam Banks,
Mhm.
and share his struggle, so that we can see, no matter what we've been through, there is, we can get through it.
Yes, ma'am. That's
We can
true.
get through it if you have support and you have a plan, and because you can't get through something if you don't have support. We need support. As
Very true.
human beings, we are created to have community and to support each other.
Couldn't
And
agree with you
so,
more.
no matter how much you plan to, my grandmother used to say, you can't carry water in a basket. You can't carry water in a woven basket, because you're not going to get anywhere. But if
Right.
you have support, if you have the right things in place, you can very much be who you want to be. And I'm grateful that you shared this story and came up here and shared who you are, because it's showing people the kind of man that we have in this world, that there is hope. You took the time to take care of your father
Yes.
in a time when he needed you most. That's a wonderful thing. We
Yeah.
we need more of that in today's world. More people, taking the time to take care of their loved ones. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you so much for coming up here and sharing, Mr. Dotson, Mr. Lloyd Dotson, everyone. Thank you, thank you. And for
Thank you, Dr.
you
Wilson.
out there who would like to write a book, you're dreaming of writing a book. So many people have been telling you that you need to write a book, but you're in pain. Whatever it is, you can't get to it. Whatever it is holding you back. You need some help. So send me an email at authordnicholson@gmail.com, and I'll definitely show you how you can get the results that you need, how you can walk away with your message, sharing your message with the world. And thank you again, Lloyd. You want to
You're-
say anything to the people before you go?
I appreciate you, Dr. Nicholson, for the great work that you are doing, for allowing me this opportunity to have this platform to speak on. And to you, the listener, thank you for taking the time to listen and to be present. And I solicit your prayers, your encouragement, and we'll support each other to make each other even greater than we already are. So thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm looking forward to you coming back and telling us and everyone else about the struggle as a movie.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You take care.
Thank you. You too as well.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.